Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Alliances webinar series. My name is Christine Beck, and I am proud to be a staff with the Illinois Self-Advocacy Alliance. Today's webinar is Yes, I've Got a Job. Now What? Presented by Chris Lenart. The Alliance is proud to be funded by the Illinois Council on Developmental Disabilities. As a reminder, all attendees are in listen-only mode. If you wish to communicate with me or with Chris, please use your chat box to send us a message. This webinar is being recorded, and a copy of the recording will be placed on the Alliance's website and also posted on the Alliance's Facebook page. In addition, a link to the recording will be in next month's Alliance newsletter. Who we are. The Alliance is a network of advocates, allies, and self-advocacy groups around Illinois. And the image is a picture of several self-advocates. They are attending, or the picture was taken when they were attending our Operation Community Access Rally. There are pictures of the balloons, star-shaped balloons of various colors in the background, and the individuals pictured were part of our Alliance Board of Directors. The vision of the Alliance is for self-advocates to work together to get the support we need and to live the life we want in the community. Our mission is to speak up for ourselves and each other while working together to make changes in our communities and in Illinois. Our focus is on empowering people to speak up and speak out about what they want and need, don't want and don't need, action plan their goals, participate in advocacy at the personal, agency, community, and statewide levels. What we do. The Alliance does many things. We support our local member groups. We work together on important issues. We offer networking, advocacy, and learning opportunities through our monthly newsletters, our webinars, the Alliance Ambassador Leadership Program, and the Training Institute. And the image in the lower right-hand corner is a person with pink skin, short brown hair, wearing glasses, a blue shirt and black pants, and is holding papers. I like to say, no matter where you live or where you work, there is an Alliance member group near you. And on the screen is an outline of the state of Illinois, and there are stars indicating where all of the Alliance member groups are located. So up north, we have member groups in McHenry and Zion, Dixon, Illinois, Rock Island, Dwight, and Pontiac. Chicago and the surrounding areas are well represented with member groups in Alsip, Aurora, Brookfield, the city of Chicago, Chicago Heights, Elgin, Hanover Park, Homewood, Mount Prospect, and Rolling Meadows. In central Illinois, we have member groups in Galesburg, Tremont, Bloomington, Beardstown, Jacksonville, Decatur, and Monticello. And in southern Illinois, we have member groups in Alton, Edwardsville, Mattoon, Charleston, and Paris. So again, no matter where you live and where you work, there is a member group near you. And before I turn it over to the presenter, I need to make sure that the audio is switched over. And let me make sure that Chris is ready to go.
Welcome to this webinar called I've Got a Job. Yes. Now what? This question is a good one to ask because it is so hard to know what to do, especially when you have a disability that affects your ability to work. Over the next 45 minutes, we will take a look what you should do before your first day at work. Before I go into explaining how, let me tell you about myself. I am Chris Leonard and I live on my own for the last 9 years in Naperville, Illinois. I am a public speaker and blogger for the last few years. Before that, I was a programmer analyst for 14 years at HSBC. In 2009, they shut down the business that I was supporting, so I was let go. I went to college at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign in 1989. During the last semester of college, I started looking for a job, and U of I invited thousands of companies to interview students who were graduating soon. Within a semester, I had 100 interviews and 0 second interviews. The way that I received my job at HSBC was through a therapist at DuPage Easter Seals. His wife took my resume in and handed it to the head of the technology department. I had an interview that I felt was just okay. After it, I didn't feel like I nailed it. A few weeks later, I received a phone call from the HR department and the woman asked me if I was still looking for a job, and I said absolutely. I will never forget what she said next. She said, "Welcome aboard." These 2 words were music to my ears in the next 14 years. While I was working, I received a master's degree in software engineering from DePaul University. That was really difficult, working 40+ hours and taking a graduate class every quarter for many numbers of years. I am the founder of Disability Awareness. My mission is to help those with disabilities to live fuller lives by educating them, their families, their communities, and employers on what it means to live or raise a child with a disability. Before we talk about what to do after you get hired, let's look at one statistic that shows where we are as a country in terms of the unemployment for people with disabilities. I love looking at numbers because they tell us a lot. I just got the unemployment for people with disabilities, and it was 8% last year in 2018. It was more than twice the rate of people who don't have a disability. Again, these numbers are people who report that they are not working. This is not including me who wants a job and cannot find a job because you could receive money for unemployment for 25 weeks in Illinois. I am out of work over 10 years. With that being said, the unemployment rate of people who have disabilities might be much higher than 8%. If I would take a poll among people with disabilities if they would like to work, I would say that quite a lot of people would say that they would love to work. I feel that it is in our blood to work. I love going and work for the most part. Every job has its tough times naturally. No company is the best because it runs by people and people to change. It might be for the better or it might be for the worst. I saw both kinds during my 14 years of working. The question that needs to be asked is why not more companies are hiring people with disabilities? I think this is an excellent question to ask because if we can get to the bottom of it, we then can find ways to solve the problems. I think that the biggest problem is that companies are misinformed about employees with disabilities. Once they have been misinformed, They have a fear of trying to overcome their fears. We will briefly talk about the misconceptions and then talk about what you can do to have an awesome first day at work. I think most of you thought I was giving a different talk. No, I think it is good to understand what is going on so when you get your amazing job, you will appreciate it more and go beyond what is expected from you so you can keep your job. Why do companies get afraid when someone with a disability applies for a job? I just think they heard a lot of misconceptions and don't want to deal with people with disabilities. Let's talk about some common misconceptions out there and explain how crazy they are. The first misconception is the job is too demanding and the person with a disability cannot keep up with the job. Well, this statement can be true for any person with a disability or not. At HSBC, we had a few people with disabilities beside me, and we had the same deadlines as everybody else. We sometimes were on some very hot projects, and management never said, "Oh, Chris types with his head. He could get extra time." No, they put me on the hot projects because they knew that I would get the job done on time. Another misconception is a person with a disability gets sick often. Again, this can happen to anyone. Several years ago, I read an article about loyalty among employees, and guess who was the most loyal? Yes, that is right. People with disabilities. This is so ironic because people party often on the weekend and call off on Mondays. During December, I took off a lot, not because I was sick, rather if I didn't take off, I would just lose my vacation days. I always transferred the maximum days over to the next year. Do you want one more misconception? I think you do because they are so funny. The last misconception is a person with a disability is usually late to work. This might be true for people who rely on public transportation. At HSBC, people with disabilities drove themselves or had someone drive them. My dad would drive me to work, and near the end, I had a caregiver who took me to work. The question is how to stop companies from believing in these misconceptions. I have no real good way of doing it. I have made a YouTube video on this topic, but nobody really watched it. I have never worked in human resources, so I don't know how they make policies. The only way I can think of is by talking to friends and family members who are in management about this. Maybe they might know. We are all advocates, so we have to talk to people and educate them. I know that it might be uncomfortable, but if we don't advocate for ourselves, who will? So what can you do to have an awesome first day at work? I think you have to believe in yourself that you can do it. When I first started working, I had some worries about being able to do a good job or not. This worry happens to everybody, no matter if you have a disability or not. I know people might tell us that we won't be able to do something. For me, that just makes me to do it even more. In other words, you should not let this negative emotion stop you from doing what you want to do, but use it for your benefit. In terms of preparing for your first day at work, you should let them know what you can and cannot do. What do I mean by that? Well, let me give you an example. Let's say that you were hired as a busboy at a restaurant. You can clean tables and set the table up for the next customer, but you cannot carry the dirty dishes away. Removing the dishes away is the responsibility of the busboy for sure. What can you do to be able to do this task? Well, You could suggest that you can use a card to remove the dishes. This is a reasonable accommodation that the restaurant should honor. On the other hand, you ask for a robot that costs $5,000 to carry the dirty dishes for you. They will just laugh you out your job so fast that you will not know what hit you. You have to be reasonable with what you ask for. I was a programmer, so I have to type with my head, so I need a key guard over the keyboard. This is a reasonable accommodation, because if I don't have the key guard, I can't press the correct keys. Before I started working, HSBC knew what I needed to be successful. I took it one step further. I told HSBC that I could bring my own key guard, while they ordered one for me. In my opinion, if you show your boss that you are willing to work with them making your job easier for you, it goes a long way. You have to remember one thing, and that is your boss and coworkers might not spend time with a person with a disability. You have to teach them slowly what you might need. This might take a few weeks or longer depending on your disability. As you can see that I am nonverbal, some coworkers were open to learning how to communicate with me. Some people were faster than others. I never experienced a person who did not want to work with me. I have a story to share with you. I was on my first project, and we had 2 consultants and a project leader who was really new to this position. The corporation was having some financial difficulties, so they had to let some people go. The first people to leave were the consultants, so that meant I had to finish the project myself. I saw that the project leader was terrified because I was the only person who was doing the programming. His job as the project leader was on the line. Do you know what I did? I completed one part of the program and let the project leader see it. Slowly, I gained his trust little by little. By the end of the project, he knew that I could do anything for him and I would deliver. You have to do the same thing with your job. You have to gain the trust of your peers. I don't know about you, but I love to keep busy. When I had time that I had very little to do, I got bored. So, when I knew I was running out of things to do, I would go to my manager and ask for more work. This showed my manager that I was motivated and willing to help out. Let's go back to the example of the busboy for a few minutes, and let's say it is a slow evening for customers. The Chicago Bears are playing, and we know that people love the Bears. You are bored doing nothing. So, what could you do? First of all, go up to your boss and ask how you can help out. If they give you something to do, that is great. Let's just say that your boss does not really have anything for you to do. One thing that I don't recommend that you do is to keep asking them for more work. This is what I would do. Go to each table and see if they are cleaned nicely and have enough salt and pepper and other things like napkins. Why am I suggesting that you could do this? First, your boss will notice your willingness to work. This goes a long way for sure. I developed a system for a department at HSBC, and one of the screens was running out space to add information to put on the screen. Since I was the person who was in charge of this system, I asked my manager if I could redesign it. Basically, he said that I could redesign it and get the approval from the users, but I could not implement it unless there was a project that modified this screen. I redesigned it and finally received approval from the users. The design was on the back burner for a while until there was a project. A coworker gave me a technical design which was a new feature to the screen. I thought this was a great opportunity to do the redesign of the screen. I asked him if he could handle the extra work on the screen. Basically, he said that he could not do the extra work. I was really disappointed in not getting the new design into the hands of the users. This raises 2 points that I want to address. Going beyond your duties might be a good thing or not. When I started working, management liked employees to go beyond their comfortable zone and think outside the box. That was what I was doing, so when I asked the guy to do the redesign, I was really disappointed because I did extra work for nothing. You have to remember one thing, and that is things did change with companies. Some changes you might like and others that you might not like. You have to go with the flow no matter what. A few years before we were let go, HSBC put in a new policy that nobody liked at all. We had to deal with it. You can get mad or live with it. The right choice is to live with it no matter how you feel about it. Everybody feels like they are doing a good job, but there are always things that we can improve on. At HSBC, we were reviewed twice a year, and that was really difficult to hear what you are not doing correctly. Sometimes I came back out of my review feeling like a tank rolled over me. First of all, the manager who does the review really wants to help you to improve, although it might not seem like that. The managers don't like getting reviews either, so everybody hates reviews. The question is now, why have reviews anyway since everybody hates them? There are several reasons why reviews are necessarily. First, they help you to become better at what you do. Second, they help management to determine who should be receiving a promotion or a raise in their pay. The last reason is to help the company to see who is not doing well in their job. It helps them know who should be let go if the company is to downsize. When you hear constructive feedback from your boss, it might hurt a lot. What should you do to show your feelings? Oh, I know, yell at your boss. That is dead wrong. This is what I would stay calm and explain what you think is not right. Say it in a humble manner so your boss will understand you clearly. Another thing is to stay focused on the subject at hand. One of my biggest problems at work was my tone in my emails, especially when I didn't agree with something. I would read my emails in my head and I would think they were okay, but they were harsh. I did improve somewhat throughout the years, but every single review talked about my tone. You might have something, but you can't stop it. I say keep trying to improve. You might get constructive feedback from coworkers too. If you hear that from your coworkers, you know that your boss will bring it up too. When you hear the same thing from different coworkers, you have to try to change. Some people sometimes try to get you in trouble, and that is not right. I'm saying this so you can be aware of it. I never had it happen to me. I was in an office with older people. Let's go back to the example of the busboy in the restaurant setting. There are many teenagers and young adults who work in restaurants. You don't know if they have been around people with disabilities. If they haven't, they might say a lot of things that might hurt your feelings. If I was in your shoes, I would try to ignore it. But if they keep doing it, you should talk to your boss. Nobody should do it, especially at work. You have to remember a few things. Kids are kids, and this might be their first job, so they might not know how to act. If you act like an adult and with confidence, they might realize that you don't take the crap. But if you act immaturely, they will keep doing it. If they continue it, who knows what will happen? Your boss might just let you go since you are the problem, although you are not the real problem. A boss would like to let one person go rather than have to let two or more people go. Let's go and talk about how to be professional at work. This subject is quite important in keeping a job. I look at a job being something that you respect. I also think you earn a job, not handed it to you. What do I mean by earn a job? Well, you were given a job, but you earned the rights to keep the job. I could have gone into work and put my feet on my desk and take a nap. Is this earning a job? Absolutely not, but rather it is abusing the job. I will give several ways of being professional at work. The first thing is to dress for success. In my line of work, it was dress casual, which was dress pants and collar shirt and no gym shoes. I didn't have to wear a tie unless I was going to the corporate office. Again, it depended on what I was going there for. If I was seeing the CEO, then I would have to dress up nice. I had only one meeting with the CEO, but it was canceled. Every week we had one day that we could wear jeans and gym shoes. It was to raise money for charities. It was just $1, so everybody loved it. Let's go back to the example of the busboy. They usually wear a white button-down shirt and black pants. The restaurant will tell you what you should wear at work. The thing to remember is to speak properly. What do I mean by properly? Don't swear or use dirty language. You should talk like you are talking to your mom. Moms don't like hearing their kids talking dirty to them. If you see management in the halls, say hi or smile. You should always say please and thank you. This shows the person that you respect them. You can tell jokes if they are clean and don't make jokes all day. Let's say that you like somebody at work. You can talk to them, but don't act crazy. Through the years at HSBC, I liked several women and would talk to them, but I didn't overwhelm them. There was one who I hung out after work a few times. I was there to work and not try to get a day. In the corporate world, you have to network so people can get to know you. You could stay behind your desk until it is time to leave, but that is not healthy. Networking is the key at any job, and you have to balance your responsibilities with your job and networking. Everybody knows that networking is the key in getting your next promotion. One time, my manager told me that if I wanted to be promoted, every manager has to talk with me and see me out of my cubicle, because every manager puts their own opinion who should be promoted. Once he told me that, it made sense. So you have to do a good job in networking. Let's talk about how to be professional at work a little more. One thing that I feel is really important is a willingness to continue to learn. In my field of work, programming is always changing. The programming language is enhancing through the years. The company itself might switch technologies. If they do change technologies, you have to go and learn it. Naturally, the company is to train you, so don't worry about getting trained. Let's go back to the example of the busboy. The restaurant gets a brand new high-power dishwasher. Your boss should understand that you have to be trained how to work it. Let's say that you were not trained. You just have to ask your boss for help. I am pretty sure that if you ask your boss nicely, they will help you. There is another kind of training that you can receive which is related to soft skills. You are thinking, what the heck are soft skills? Well, they are skills that might help you to communicate better with your coworkers or help you to manage projects and many other things. Say you want to be a boss. It is a big change from taking orders to giving orders. That is a huge change which you don't learn overnight. The first class that I took at work was to understand your coworkers' strengths and weaknesses. I think that class was the most helpful class that I ever had. The information is not only for the work environment, but it is for any relationships between people. I will give you a minute recap of the class, because that is how important I feel it is. There are 3 different traits that a person has. They are feeling, thinking or analysis skills, and decision making. Everyone has all 3 traits, but they have one dominant trait, one recessive trait, and one trait that is in the middle. There are 8 combinations of these 3 traits. Everyone has one of the combination or sometimes 2. One combination might work really well with another combination, but sometimes 2 might work terrible with each other. The class teaches you how to work with everyone. You can see why I said that this class was the most helpful. You can take this information and apply it to any relationship that you have. Say that you are in a relationship that you are fighting a lot. This might be the reason why you are having trouble. On a side note, my dominant trait is feelings, and my recessive trait is decision making. I think that fits me to a T for sure. I have to say one more thing, and that is if you are working for a small company, please don't expect they will send you to a class like this. Big companies and corporations can absorb the experiences easier. Sometimes a person with a disability might need someone who can assist them in learning the job. This person is called a job coach. I never had a job coach, so I don't know much about them. When we open it to questions at the end, I might not have all the answers for you. I am sure that we can find someone who can assist you. What is a job coach anyway? Well, a job coach is a person who can help a person with a disability to find a job. Once the person is hired somewhere, the coach helps the person to learn how to do the job. They also help the person to retain the job by giving on and off-site support. Let's just say that you were hired as a secretary and you have to answer the phone and transfer calls to the right person. A secretary's phone is much bigger and has a lot more buttons to press. You don't want to lose the calls when transferring them. I know that I would need a job coach for sure. Besides helping you to learn the job, they are there to help you to learn soft skills. Once again, what are soft skills? They are communication skills and money knowledge if you are a waitress. Let's go back to the example of the secretary for a minute. If you answer the phone with just a hi or hello, the person who is on the phone might be thinking that they dialed the wrong phone number. I will tell you what I might say if I was working for HSBC. Hello, good morning, this is HSBC. How may I help you? Do you see how professional it sounded than just a hi or hello? You are greeting the person with respect. In any job, respect goes a long way. Respect your boss, your coworkers, and respect the customers. The customers might be the most important person to respect because if they are not treated with respect, they might go to some other place. You have to remember that you are the first voice they hear when they call. The job coach will help you to learn what to say when answering the phone. A job coach might talk to your boss about how to help you to do your job better. Some people with disabilities might learn better with pictures or larger print. The employee could tell their boss themselves, but explaining why you need something might not be explained well. The job coach can explain better. Again, it is not your fault in not explaining something enough. Your boss might just never interact with somebody with a disability before. A job coach can help the other employees so they can learn to help you. You have to remember that a job coach will go away in time. If you keep needing help with your job, it might not be the right job for you. It is your job, not another person's job, and the company is paying you the big bucks, not the job coach. We talked about how a job coach can help you to learn the job, but there is another way you can learn your job better. It is when you shadow somebody for a while. The length of time you shadow somebody depends on the job. Some jobs might need a few hours, but some jobs might take a few years of following somebody. Electricians and doctors need at least a year of on-the-job training. Would you want a doctor to say, "Hello, I just graduated from medical school yesterday. Can I take a look at you?" I would say no way and run out the doctor's office and never come back. Do you know why? The doctor has no experience of taking care of people. So when they are doing their residence, they follow several doctors so they have the hands-on experience and keep the patient safe because the doctor is with them correcting any mistakes the resident is making. The same thing is with the electrician because they could cause a fire in the building. We do not want it to happen. Why doesn't every job have this training? Well, most jobs don't require someone to watch them. The most dangerous that a busboy could do is to drop a pile of dishes. Anyone can drop a pile of dishes at any time. Yes, dishes cost money, but if somebody dies because of what you gave them, the family might sue for millions of dollars. It is the same thing with the electrician, because if the building has a really bad fire, the building has to be torn down and rebuilt. Do you understand why some jobs might need extra training than other jobs? If you might need extra training, it is all right to ask for extra help. No, people can learn really quickly and people do understand that. You can go at your own pace and it is okay. Please remember that. We are all unique persons, so if somebody can learn really quickly, it is their strength, not ours. I am getting tired now. Aren't you? I think I need some coffee now. Oh, I just remember that I hate coffee, but I love my Coke though. I mean the drink Coke, not the drug. I don't want Christine to say that I could not do more webinars. We have one more important topic to cover and then we will quickly wrap up and answer your questions. Most of us are receiving money from the government. This money that we get is essential to our well-being. On the other hand, we want to be productive citizens who want to work. The question is now, how do we work but still be able to receive our benefits from the government? Let's see if what the government says about this. I tried to look this up, but it got too confusing. What I found was this year in 2019, both the federal benefits and SSI income is $771 a month. SSI is known Social Security income. If you receive more than $771 in a month, they will take back some of the money. There seems to be exceptions that you use to keep the money. I am not a good person to explain what you could do. It would not be fair to you if I give you advice on this. When I was in college, I had 3 summer internships, and back in that time, I was getting SSI, and I was getting good pay for these internships. I think all 3 summers, I had to pay back my SSI. This raises a great question about getting a job. If you get a job, will it affect you with getting federal benefits? If it will, the next question is, will you survive on your work pay? These questions are very important to answer before accepting a job. When I got my job at HSBC, I had to weigh all of my options, and at that time, I took the job knowing that I was living at home and my parents could help me. Another reason why I took the job was that I would be making more money from the start than the amount the government was giving me. So, it was no-brainer in knowing what to do. Say that I have a job offer today. Will I take the offer? It depends on the amount of the money that I would be making. There is another factor that you have to consider, and that is how far it is from you. If it was close to me, I would take it. On the other hand, the job is in downtown Chicago, and I have to go in every single day. There is no way I would take it because the cost of transportation will be totally outrageous. Now, let's just say that I have to go in twice a month and the rest of the time I can work from home. I would really consider it. If you have a job that pays you the same amount as SSI, your decision would be much harder than mine. If you had housing help too, it might affect the two and you would be in a serious situation. Having a job is awesome, but after weighing everything, it might not be so awesome after all. I am sorry, but it is reality. It is time to wrap this talk up, but what do you have to remember from it? I am going to give you my top 5 things to remember. Number 1. You have to make sure that you will be able to keep your benefits. If you will make too much money, the next question is, will you survive on your work pay or not? These 2 questions should be answered before you accept the job. Number 2. You should tell your boss everything that you need to do your job. If you tell the person everything up front, it will make it a lot easier. If you tell your boss things in little pieces, he or she will be confused quickly and wonder what is next. That will make your job harder. Number 3. Professionalism, professionalism, and professionalism. Is there anything more to say? I doubt it. Number 4. Try to do your best and go out of your way, because it really says a lot to your boss. Don't over-ask for extra work, because it might send a negative feeling to your boss. Number 5. Make a difference in your work. When I was at HSBC, many people would come up to me and say that I was inspiring them. You can do the same in your work too. Before we open it up for questions, I have a few announcements to share with you. I have a website called disabilityawareness.us. I have a blog where I write about different things about disabilities. Please visit it and look around. If you like it, please share it with your friends. I have a weekly newsletter on Mondays. I talk about what is happening in my life and disability topics that I found during the week, and it is too short for a blog post. You can sign up for the newsletter on the website. Like you are aware, I do public speaking, and if you found this talk helpful and you want me to come out to your event, please contact me off the website. Like I said earlier, that I have an online course on how to hire a personal care assistant. So basically, everything is on the website. I highly suggest that you should go to disabilityawareness.us right after this webinar and actually spend time looking around. Lastly, I would like to thank Chris Eaton Beck for allowing me to do this webinar, and maybe I will come back and do another webinar on another topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, for this wonderful information. We will go ahead and open it up to any questions, comments, or consideration. If you have anything that you would like to ask or share, go ahead and type it in using your control panel. I am really excited to announce that Chris is going to be presenting at this year's Speak Up and Speak Out Summit. So if you have plans to attend the summit, Chris would love to meet you. And that's just a wonderful thing when we get to put names and faces together and meet each other. So again, if you have any questions, comments, or considerations for Chris, please type that in using your control panel. While you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide. Again, thank you. The Alliance always thanks you for attending our webinars, whether you are attending live or you are listening to a recorded version of the webinar. We really appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend it learning with and from us. A little bit about the Alliance. You can connect with us by email at info@selfadvocacyalliance.org. We do have a website, and that is selfadvocacyalliance.org. And we're on Facebook, so you can find us and like us there by searching for us at Illinois Self-Advocacy Alliance. There is a picture on the screen of a person with pink skin and darker brown hair. It's short hair. The person is wearing a purple shirt, and in white letters, it spells out, "Ask me about the Alliance." And the person is holding up a right into the air. So I just wanted to share that with you. Let me check to see if we have any questions. So we'll keep it open for just a couple more seconds. Again, if you have any questions, comments, or contributions that you would like to share with Chris and the rest of the audience, we would love to hear it. I know this is the second time that we have had Chris present a webinar, and Chris has a great sense of humor. I don't know if you noticed that, but I'm glad, Chris, that you're not into the hard drugs, that Coke, the drink Coke is your drink. So that makes me happy. Yes. All right. So we have let me pull this out from Tara Ahern, who is the Alliance's project director. She says, "Great job, Chris. Thank you for sharing your story with us." So we thank Chris for sharing the story. All right. I'm not seeing any more questions, comments, or contributions. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Thank you so much again for spending time with us, learning with and from us today. Remember to check out Chris's website. Go ahead and check out the Alliance's website. And remember to keep on speaking up and speaking out. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye-bye.